Welcome to the Short Rod Show. You're talking with Ben.
And you got Brett.
We are out on the ice today, guys. Good to join with you here on Season 2, Episode 7.
Got him!
Brett is on a fish. Listen to that schooly squeal.
Man, that couldn't have worked out any better with the intro.
That was perfect. we timed that perfectly. So yeah, we're pretty excited. We actually...
That's probably one of the nicer bluegills.
Oh, geez. That's a hog. We're actually able to get up on a lake up here in Minnesota and get on some ice finally.
Yeah, what's today? December 5th.
Yep, it's been a long time coming.
So probably by the time this airs, hopefully people have been on the ice for a couple days. But yeah, it's been a heck of a good trip so far.
Yep, so far so good. It's nice to be able to get away and come up and do this. And this is, I was telling Brad, this is the earliest we've ever fished.
Yep.
On the ice.
Yep.
You know, normally in Iowa here, we're pushing middle of December if you're really lucky to get out on the lake. So there's a bite. We're in pretty good shape here, being up on a lake in central Minnesota here.
Too busy podcasting, Ben.
Yep.
You're not paying attention.
Yeah, I can't multitask very well. But yeah, so we're just going to run through our trip today, kind of talk some early ice techniques, things that we found that can help you guys just kind of run through what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, and I think there'll be some opportunity too to talk about how we break down new water and kind of the tactics we took. Because I mean, really, I've never been in this area, and I mean I'm catching one right now. It's one after another.
That's on number 2.
Yep. So yeah, what did we take? We took off yesterday. So Friday at noon, cut off half day of work, hopped in the Chevy and headed north. But,
yep.
I mean, there was obviously a little bit of planning that went on ahead of time. So, earlier in our season, we had said, hey, we want to go do an early ice trip. Listeners chime in, and we'll see if we can't line something up. But, unfortunately, I mean, and like you guys know, this early ice has just been not what it's been in the last couple of years, which has been unfortunate.
Yeah, it's pretty touch and go. I mean, you can't say with certainty anything's going to have fishable ice. So... basically just have to play it by ear, and that's kind of the approach that Brett and I took, and I think it worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah. So I spent a little bit of time since we were going to an area that I have never been to or don't really know a whole lot about. What is this thing coming up my hole? It's like a big bug. Look at this thing. It's like a locust coming out of the hole. Look at that thing. It's like a big water bug or something.
It's like a crab kind of deal.
Well, I wasn't really planning for this podcast.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Let's kick that back down the hole. I don't really want that in here. Well, no,
No
kidding.
kidding. Hey, you got waxies handy?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just kind of winged it. Went up here, figured out by looking at ice reports, talking to different people, just to make sure, hey, what's giving us a good shot at having some fishable ice?
Yep.
And kind of, we wanted to keep it as close to home as we could.
Yep.
But at the same time, get up to fishable, safe ice.
Yep.
Which there's lots of people that will go out on pretty sketchy ice and say, oh yeah, it's safe, it's fine.
And I'm not afraid of a little bit of sketchy ice. I mean, I'm not afraid of 2.5 inches of ice, but I'd much rather, if I'm going to go on a fairly sizable body of water, to be at least 4, but gives you a little bit of play for
yeah, absolutely.
ice thickness variability and that sort of stuff. But so yeah, what we started out was Minnesota Lake Finder, and knew kind of the area, at least the direction of travel that we'd be going and kind of our route. So what I did initially was had an idea of what highways we were going to be taking and direction, and then what I did was I just kind of started pinging lake maps on the way up north, and I was like, all right, well, we'll start here. This pond's fairly shallow. If it's going to have good ice, if there's going to be good ice in this area, it's going to be on that pond. Ooh, there's a little. Oh, yeah, that bug came up
that
on
bug
yours.
again.
That thing's kind of freaky.
That's funny. It's got some big pinchers on the front.
Yeah.
I've never seen
You're
that
just caught
before.
on the ice a little bit there.
Ooh, that's a little bit better fish. So
yeah, did that. Started pinging, initially I was looking for lakes under 30 feet. But what we found yesterday even, is that it really takes lakes under about 15 to 20 feet before we have good ice. Right now we're sitting at 14.5 foot. Last night we stopped at a lake that was maxed out at 10, or I think it maxed out at 15 foot. And so yeah, we just pulled in. Started spun it. We started at the one lake that was a little bit too deep. It was 30 foot deep. The first one I wanted to check out. And we're right in that Mille Lacs, Brainard area is where we ended up stopping.
Yep.
So we stopped at that first lake.
Which is a pretty cool area because I've never
been in
this
area
been
at
in
all.
over here.
Stopped at that first one, poked it, and it only had about an inch and a half. So with my spud bar, and what we mentioned in previous episodes is kind of get to know what your spud bar is and what your comfortability is on the ice. So I knew if I could hit that ice real hard 2 times with my spud bar, I'm pretty comfortable on that ice. Where that first spot we stopped at, it was really only about a hit and a half before we were going through the ice.
Yeah. And you could tell looking at the ice too, it was really clear and
it was new.
Yep, pretty fresh.
Yep.
All the lakes that had recently developed ice was all clear, and the lakes that had been frozen for a while were pretty cloudy.
Yeah, the lakes we've been fishing are real cloudy, which is, I mean, there's good ice, good 3 or 4 inches, but that top layer is all cloudy.
Yep.
So yeah, last night we stopped out, pretty small lake, and it was just getting to be dark, and I was like, all right, well, let's hop out, spud this thing quick. Hit it a couple times, and somebody had already been out there with a 4-wheeler. So I was like, oh, geez, okay. So yeah, we hopped in, ran out to the, kind of searched around a little bit, had the lake maps, also brought the Panoptics with me, so this is really the first opportunity we've had to really play with that too much. And
yeah,
so far the biggest deal I've had about it is sweet for 2-man fishing in your hut, because 2 people can use the 1 unit, which has been pretty cool.
Yeah, it really helps. Hooked up again helps work on your organization in your shelter. Because right now we have a pretty clean setup.
Yeah,
Just have the Garmin Panoptics in between us.
Woo.
Oh, Bassy!
Oh, ditch pickle.
Nice.
That's
Nice
the first one of
little
those
bass.
we've gotten on the
Good
trip.
deal. So maybe that was what that big fish
Might have been.
was. That was
Ain't
pretty
real huge, maybe 1.5 pounds.
Yep, enough.
There you go, bud.
So, yeah, well, let's keep running through that trip here after the break, Brett.
Yep.
Cool. That's
Cool.
all coming up next, huh?
The Short Rod Show. Hey, Ben, so I've got this buddy that's trying to start a small business, but he's having a real tough time with his digital footprint and just trying to figure all that out. Do you know anybody that could help him out?
Well, I think I do. I know a couple cool guys at this company called Evergrow Marketing, and they really specialize in helping landscape and lawn care companies maximize their digital footprint and basically bring customers to them, help them get found on the internet.
Really?
I mean, they'll work with any business. They're really looking to expand. And if you tell them that Ben and Brett sent you from the Short Rod Show, you can get 10% off your first order. Really cool.
If you're interested in the Evergrow Marketing team and what they have to offer, check them out on evergrowmarketing.com and tell them Ben and Brett from the Short Rod Show sent you.
You know, Brett, I was poking around on Facebook the other day, and I could just not find the Short Rod Show. What's the deal?
Oh, you just got to punch us in on Google.
What do you mean? We show up on Google already?
Oh, yeah, the Evergrow team hooked us up.
Holy cow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good deal. I'll try that now.
Yeah, right. You just punch in Short Rod Show, and we'll come up on our website, shortrodshow.com. It'll come up on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Awesome. So people can find us all over now.
Yeah, all over the internet.
That's great. We're also on Instagram, too. I've been trying to keep up with that. Posting some cool pictures. When we're out on the ice, you can check us out there, too.
Yeah, sweet updates.
Awesome. Check us out, guys. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us through the break here. Today we're talking an early ice trip Brett and I are currently on. We're actually out recording out in the Otter.
Yep.
Out on a little, there's
Doubled up.
Out
Dang.
on a little lake in Minnesota here.
Yep.
And we're both on some fish.
Yeah, I'd say we're sitting on a good 4.5, maybe 5 inches ice. So,
Yep.
I mean, I'm really fairly comfortable on it.
Yeah, it's making a lot of noise.
Oh, yeah, it's popping pretty good today.
Which usually means that it's making some more, so that's good.
And there'd been some people out here before, so
Yep.
it worked out pretty well. But
Yep.
I was ready to start.
Yeah, we were talking about that first lake that we were on.
Yep.
That actually we were able to get out on, but using that Panoptics, man, that was cool.
It was cool just as a
Scoping
cool
it out.
readout, and it gives you a lot of information about what the fish are doing. Now, I mean, you can still catch fish just fine on the Markham. You can still catch fish, doing everything else, pattern drilling the holes, everything we preached last year. But this thing, it makes it so much faster to say, hey, I think there's a couple. It really doesn't read the bottom for shit. If there's a fish on the bottom, it's tough
That's
to
true,
see.
yeah. Yep.
You really need those fish raised up a little bit to really see what they're
You
doing.
get a little bit of a rocky bump or some kind of imperfection in the bottom, and you can't tell if it's a fish or
No. At least in the forward view. The bottom view, if it's looking down, oh gosh dang it, I got one already.
On the drop.
Yeah. I'd been trying to drop it.
Oh, there's another one right now.
This thing's taking forever to get down there. Nice gill.
Nice.
This is going to take us forever to get through our story, Ben.
I guess. What were we talking about?
Panoptics. Running that. So we got to that first lake and spudded it out a little bit. And so on that Garmin unit, it already comes preloaded with Navionics maps, which I don't know. After coming from Lake Master maps, I'm not in love with the Navionics, but they are better than nothing. Got out there. We kind of the little lake we were on was maybe 40 acres. It was a little guy.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, it did have surprisingly enough, it did have a bottom contour map on it.
Yep.
And right near the boat ramp, you could see where there was a little point that came out. And there was a steep break, so I was like, obviously, we need to go to there. I mean, that's the part that
the prime spot,
right,
the spot
right
on the spot of that lake.
Yep.
If they're going to be some fish roaming around, that's where they're going to be.
Especially on a small lake like that, where it's really kind of featureless in the first place as far as bottom content. Mud bottom that you go to weeds.
Yep.
And yeah, you're just basically looking for drop-offs in depth at that point. I think, and like I mentioned earlier, this thing bottomed out at 14 feet was the basin depth. And I think for the most part last night we were fishing in 10. But yeah, we got on the water about 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
Got the otter set up, pulled out. We drilled a little bit and dinked around looking for fish at first. And then once we got to kind of that spot I'd initially identified, it was game on one after another. Kind of like it is right now. Oh, baby! So, dude, I've probably at least caught 6 fish since we started this thing.
So, Brett, what beta you're on right now? Just so everyone knows what that...
We're running the Glow Cadus.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the glow part matters right now. It's the middle of the afternoon, but...
They are just killing it.
The super light one, I don't know. I don't remember what the number of sizes is, but it can't be more than a 64th ounce.
Oh, yeah. Probably not even that.
2 wax worms dropping around. Like I said, we're in 14.5 foot of water. Ben's just over there,
just hanging out.
Diddling his
I'm running the tungsten cadus, so a little variation of it. Mine's a chartreuse.
Too heavy,
polka
probably.
dot.
You lose a lot of that action with that tungsten, man.
Yep. But we actually got to have a little bit of a different technique now running around a lake, where we can punch holes, run the panoptics, direct where the fish are going to be at.
Where I think they'll be at. I mean, it still isn't like, oh, I put it in the thing, oh, there's fish here.
Yep.
You still have to drill out and be like, okay, we still got to find fish. It's just now I have a radius of 40 feet to look, or 50. I don't really like, they say you can run it to 100, but you really lose a lot of quality of fish size. And
it's still open to interpretation, too. There's still some confusion on if there's weeds or fish or bottom contours coming up on that side scan. So,
Yep,
I've
got a lot to learn on reading it still. But
like you said, the main reason for using that now with down view is just to have that extra wide cone angle.
Yep.
And we're able to set it right in between our 2 holes in the shelter.
Yep.
And fish comfortably where I can see my lure, you can see yours.
Yep.
We're spread out by 4 feet.
And then we can see each other too. Then we can give each other shit when one fish comes and looks. And then what's really been cool is you could see yourself steal those fish.
Yep.
Before, when you're running 2 flashes, you're like, oh, I lost that fish, and oh, this fish is showing up on mine, but you don't really know where that came from.
Yep.
You just don't know it. Where now for sure, hey, I just stole the fish that Ben was trying to catch.
Yep. Yeah, and you can see the actual time travel path.
Little vapor trail.
The vapor trail, there you go, of them moving, which is pretty neat.
That is super
That
cool.
usually happens when I'm grilling.
Yeah.
I'll just leave my lure in the water and then, oh, Ben, you got a fish on.
Well, then I can see them coming too. I could be like, oh, there's one coming for Ben's lure when you're not sitting there watching it.
Yep.
Real close. So that's been pretty handy. But yeah, last night, it was just complete dumb luck. I wouldn't say, I wanted to do a little bit of conversation about how we broke down new water and that stuff, but frankly, we got to a spot that I thought was going to have fish, and it was absolutely freaking loaded with crappies.
Yep.
Now, they weren't big. I would say maxed out 8.5, 9 inches.
Yep.
They weren't real big, but I mean, it was, you'd catch them as fast as you'd want to catch them.
Yep.
And so it was a lot of fun.
Yep. And that's really our goal of this trip. We just wanted to get on some ice.
Yep.
And catch a few fish. And we did.
Yep.
So far. So that's pretty cool.
So far we've had a hell of a fish catching trip. Now, we haven't caught anything real big, but where we have been, everywhere we've gone so far, we do a little looking and boom, fishing.
Yep.
Really, the bite's been centered around that morning and night, evening bite. This afternoon, right, except for right now, when we started this, the bite's been pretty slow during the middle of the day.
Yep. Yeah, and we're just kind of hanging out waiting for it to pick back up again.
Yep.
But, maybe, well, I'll break down a little bit of our food situation because you guys might be interested in that. But we did pretty good with food so far.
Ben flipped some mean burgers last night.
Never done burgers out on the ice.
Yeah.
So pretty easy. Just throw them in a frying pan, throw them over the little stovetop on the propane tank, and away you go. They turned out really good. So.
Yeah, they did. Didn't burn the otter down.
Yeah.
Smelled like a grease pit for a few minutes.
Probably won't cook them inside again, but man. Yeah. It's something a little bit different than just trying to do like some soup or warm up a sandwich or something.
Do you want to mention the locals we met last night?
Oh yeah, those guys.
Out on the
ice.
ice.
Funny. I heard somebody out there, so I kind of took a peek, and I figured it was a DNR.
And we're at a very not well-traveled boat ramp that we parked. We were the only vehicle in the parking lot, so the people that were coming out of their houses.
Yep. And I was like, oh shoot, maybe it's the DNR that's coming out.
Yep.
Paying us a visit, The
DNR must have been dipping into the sauce if it was the DNR.
Yeah, they were a little sauced up. A couple guys that they were fun.
What were they drinking? Red Dog?
Red Dog.
I had never heard of it.
Something in a Red Dog can.
24
The other guy had like a Nalgene bottle full of who knows
something.
what.
That guy had been drinking for a while.
Hey, what you guys doing?
They were super nice though.
Yeah, they come up and they're catching
cool.
any crappies?
Yeah.
Yep, sure are. And then Brett pulls one out and they're like, oh yeah, this lake's full of those.
Yeah, they were kind of wanting to quiz us a little bit and make sure that we were actually had an idea what was happening out here.
Here comes the school, Brett.
Yep, I see it. Coming in hot.
I got the hot one on the stack here, right off the top. I mean, just the beast.
That one's pretty tiny.
Use this for bait.
Oh, coming in hot. Look at that.
Oh, gosh,
Bam!
that's cool. So they came in off our right-hand side.
Yep.
Hit mine first, and right over. Oh, there's that bug again.
Yep, he's coming up my hole. Oh, little bass again. Little pickle.
Nice. So some bass are rolling around with the
gillies.
That's nice.
This one's about as big as the bluegill is. Eat that bug.
Take that bug down with you. Yeah, so the locals are pretty nice.
Yep.
They were kind of surprised we drove all the way up from Iowa. But
I think they're surprised just to see somebody on that lake fishing. It's definitely not a lake that gets a lot of pressure.
No, but I mean for early and it's not like you probably go back there midwinter or anything.
No.
Early ice, it did the trick.
For only having to travel 4 hours?
Yeah.
4.5.
Oh yeah, that wasn't bad at all.
That was nice.
Yep. There we go.
There you go.
Hooked up
so yeah,
again.
we were out there pretty much just pounding crappies until about 10:30 last night. Releasing everything we caught. I mean, I didn't really have at that point I didn't have a whole lot of desire to keep anything. But
yep.
God dang it!
Just killing it.
Furious out here, right? It's tough to do this podcast.
We gotta slow down our fishing to do the podcast.
Holy moly!
So
That's a good one.
Last night we with all the COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
We're basically we just slept in our pickup.
Yep.
Let her idle all night. The rolling hum
Diesel
put us to
pickup.
sleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't a gasser by any means.
Yeah.
Diesel. It was, and I was actually surprised. That hum did kind of just hum you right to sleep.
Yeah, it did. It wasn't too bad. Seats don't recline enough, but that's all right.
Yeah.
We'll
that was about the only thing that would have been a little bit better.
And then got up. I don't know. Both woke up about the same time, like 3:30.
4:30.
I thought it was 3.
Somebody got a deer.
Yeah, shotgun action.
Muzzleloader this weekend in Minnesota.
Got up and decided, hey, let's try something else. We kind of
there was nothing left for that. In that lake for us to
saw
find.
all there was to see on that, and
yep.
We'll try something else. So rolled into town trying to hunt down some coffee, which easier said than done at 4 a.m.
Yeah, no, that was a negative in Brainard. So we're still sitting on our phones and we were looking for another lake to fish. Came across and shot north of Brainard when we struck out on coffee. Went and spudded a lake. Had good ice that we were looking for. Well, first of all, we got turned around. Ended up at a little trout pond in a pit. And I was like, well, this is not going to work.
Don't fly.
Went a little further down the road. Found one shallower pond again that we fished. Spudded it, said, okay, good ice. And then we proceeded on into the next town to get coffee finally.
Yep.
Then came back, had a cup, and then we went back onto this other lake. And feature-wise, it was almost identical to the lake we were on early.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Pretty shallow.
Shallow, cattails rimming it, the whole thing.
Yep.
The crappies that we caught in that lake versus this one, they were a hair bigger in the new in the lake we fished this morning, but by a gnat's ass. They were
not
not
much.
much.
But it was really important to get that first light. The pre-dawn kind of.
Now that was
bite.
Yeah,
Because otherwise it turned off after that.
Yep, that right as the sun was hitting the trees, as the sun was below the trees, and then as it was coming up through the trees, that was when the hot bite was happening. Once the sun got above the trees, then it really died off. And it was like this bite right now, where it was just one after another, just boom, boom, boom.
But I feel like we drilled that out pretty well. We, saw what there was to see on that lake too.
Well, so we broke the cardinal rule, I think, and that's what I think we would have caught more fish out there if we wouldn't have left fish to go find fish.
Yes.
That was the problem.
We were getting antsy.
Yeah.
Just had to make a move.
Yeah, we were already catching them. We're like, well, you always think the grass is greener on the other side, and that's not always the truth.
So the old motto, don't leave fish to find fish.
Yeah, don't do that.
Holds true.
Especially
once
when you're
again.
fishing a tiny lake that really doesn't have much for features in the first place.
Yep.
What you're catching is probably what you're going to get.
Yep.
Now, keep looking until you find fish, of course, but
Yep.
we shouldn't have left. We would have caught, I'm not saying the bite obviously would have turned off still, but we would have caught at least a couple more topside.
Few more.
Yeah.
Yep. So after that, decided to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Try and once again get on the road, find a little bit of some other kind of action, some other bite.
Yep.
And met another couple guys at the boat ramp.
Man, the whole time we were on that lake, there was not a single person that went down to that boat ramp. And I feel like they were watching us. Like they were out there and like, oh, those guys are heading in. Let's go down and chat with them and see what they're doing.
They had to have just got their fish finders on and just watching us.
Because they're Iowa fish finders. They pulled those out of the drawer and were watching. Because the second we got to the boat ramp, boom, two guys pulled right in. Not with each other either.
No,
they did not
totally
know each
separate.
other. Totally separate dudes. They were both super nice guys. We were chatting them up. The one guy was just coming to check ice. The other guy was actually going to go out and fish. And later on, when we drove past, because we got a little lost, drove back past that lake, that guy that we chatted with was out fishing what appeared to be the holes that we'd already been fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Which maybe he was listening to the Short Rod Show, because that's what I tell people to do anyways. Go fish the holes they've been fishing.
Use your Iowa fish finders,
Yep.
find out what other people are doing, and go replicate that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So got a hot tip on a little local lake.
Hot
It's pretty
tip.
cool.
Yeah. There's no way we would have been back here without that guy telling
Yeah,
us.
look at
like
three moving in.
looking
on me
at the
once.
map.
You see that?
looking at like an overhead Google map, I never would have thought that we would have been able to access this lake. And we basically drove right up to it.
Yep.
You had to go to like down like some sort of mine shaft freaking road, and then there was like an obvious little man-made earthen bridge that we crossed two lakes, and it was kind of shady.
Oh yeah,
I thought, but
definitely.
we made it out here, and we've been kind of posted up ever since.
Yep. And hats off to that guy for actually being honest with us.
Yeah.
At first we weren't really sure, but
So it always pays, to be nice and chit chat.
he's like, I wouldn't tell you guys that if I didn't see your out of town plates. So we got somebody else coming in.
Yeah. It's coming in
So
hot.
that was cool. Being from Iowa, he figured, what the hell?
Yeah, they're never coming back.
Yeah, they're never coming back, or they're never even going to go.
Although he did say that this was a good crappie lake, and we have not caught a crappie yet.
Yeah.
So that may be, maybe just the town joke. Who knows yet?
Yeah, there's still time though. We're going to post up here this afternoon, and
Yep.
so grilled another set of burgers for lunch. Made a couple apple pies on the old Mr. Heater. Turned out pretty good.
So, Ben, what would you say so far is your takeaway from this trip? Number one.
Oh, just being prepared. Like, we've had everything that we needed. Like,
Yeah.
we're totally self-sufficient.
Yeah, I mean, we have not. The only time we were not self-sufficient was going to get coffee.
We need coffee.
And
Which
otherwise,
we might fix that next time, where we just get
bring a French press with us.
Yep.
Boil water.
French press it.
Yeah.
I don't know. We
We
could.
certainly could. Otherwise, yeah, I feel like you've been able to travel and be as COVID responsible as possible.
Oh
Where
yeah,
we have
yes,
absolute.
we are.
The only contact we've had with any other humans is there at the boat ramp with those two dudes, and stopping to get gas and coffee.
Yep.
And I would have done those things at home anyways.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. So that's been good. because, I mean, ice fishing's kind of the ultimate social distance sport.
Yep. Well, you'd like to think so. Sometimes that doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Maybe we're on the... I bet this guy's going to come up right up our...
I just thought it was funny that we were out in the middle of nowhere just doing our thing fishing, and two other dudes just, hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Catching crappies?
Well, that in the middle of the night, that was funny, because that one dude was just in sweatpants.
That had to have been...
You know, they were just... I feel like they were just out for a little drink and walk.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is incredibly dangerous.
No spikes on or anything.
No spikes.
It was pretty slippery.
Having a couple beers just in your sweatpants. What if you fell in? You'd be totally effed. Oh. Swing and a miss. I'll get him. Don't worry. No, you did get him.
Nope, just real light. Oh, man, they circle around.
Is that a bit? Cool. No. Yeah, that's a deucer twister there.
That's a little bit bigger. Still not
Not
nothing
Magnum.
crazy.
No.
Got just on the tip of the snout. So, yep, just catching some panfish today.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat. Get out and about. Nice afternoon.
And that's the part that I like fishing about all day is when you can really see the bite windows. Mm-hmm. When you can experience them. Yep. Of where, bam, it's heavy. Bam, 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 and now it's just dead.
Yep.
And then it's bam, 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 bam again. And a lot of times it is associated with some sort of weather change. Like you can see, I mean, our windows are fogged up right now because we're talking. I can't see anything outside. But
yeah.
Well, it was super sunny earlier, and now it's getting cloudier. And it's just been fish after fish after fish after fish.
They're talking maybe a little snow. So
really?
Kind of neat. Get a little low pressure.
It might be kind of a bear cat to get out of here if we get a lot of snow.
That's all right. Got a strap. We brought the four-wheeler just in case we had to pull the truck out.
We could probably have driven the four-wheeler out here, but there's no need. We're not that far from the ramp.
Yeah.
You can probably hear the guy pulling out of the ramp right now.
Yep. Yeah, so real neat experience out here. It's kind of pretty adventurous and something off the beaten path, which is exactly what we were looking for.
Yep. And I'd say, and I'd mentioned this to Ben before we started the podcast, we really, when you're going to a new area or fishing new lakes, we really exhausted everything except for, as far as finding the water that we want to fish and finding the fish, we exhausted about every tactic you could take other than stopping at a bait shop and asking guys. I did quick internet search, used some great resources there with the Minnesota DNR. That Lake Finder app is like the best. Like there's no other state that has a resource that.
And to have it listed out on a map, location wise, where you can find it.
Location wise, listed on the map. It's got the names. It's got surveys. It's got depth maps. It's an invaluable resource. Now, are they real great maps? I mean, they're okay. They're nothing special, but they'll get you by if you don't have any other option.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we did that, exhausted that to find lakes that would potentially to find the lakes that had the highest potential for fishable ice.
Yes.
Because otherwise you just haul up here and I mean there's trees and there's lakes everywhere. You don't know anything about anything if you don't do a little research on that at least.
Yep.
So we did that. Number 2 was actually bringing your spud bar. Let that spud bar tell you where to stop. I mean I had lakes mapped out from here till about probably
Canada,
close to 2 hours north, and incremented about every 45 minutes or so.
Yep.
Up
just
the highway.
In case.
Yep. Just in case we had to keep going north. I can't believe we were able to stop at really the second place that I had marked. Which
the ice. Sweet. The weather's been good up here, so hopefully you guys are able to get out on the ice too coming up.
Yeah, it should be here soon.
Should be, for most of you guys. If you got to do a little bit of traveling, hey, that's what we're doing is a nice way to spend a weekend.
Yep. And then we were able to exhaust a little bit of local knowledge, which was nice. I mean, you don't always have the luxury or the ability to get any of that, but whenever you see some folks out on the ice, it's always, in my experience, it's always been worth being friendly and going to chat, even if they're not all that friendly. Sometimes they don't want to talk with you either, but
oh, lovely.
It's still worth going to say hi. Oh, yeah.
We got the 2-stroke auger fired up in the background here.
Listen to that kitten purr.
Let her eat. Brett's on a pumpkin seed.
Pumpkin seed, yeah.
Nice pumpkin seed.
That's a different species again. We're up to
multi-species.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 species this trip. That ain't so bad.
So not so bad for being a few hours away from home.
No. Nice little trip.
Yep.
Get away from home. Doesn't have to be this big, excursion.
Yep. Although it is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay. It is a big deal getting out.
Yep. And, getting away. anymore, you kind of got to plan these things. It's not like we can just come up and say, hey, dude, you got to watch the kids until I'm coming home. I'm going to be gone for the weekend. You know, you kind of got to plan some of that stuff out.
Yep, plan it out.
But,
well, cool, Brett. Yeah, we'll see how the bike goes this afternoon, and keep checking for some updates from us on Facebook.
Yeah, been pumping out. I sent a picture out this morning, which a lot of folks really liked, so that was pretty sweet.
Yep.
Woo! About got shot with that wax
just
one.
It
was a juicy one.
Hole and away it goes.
Yeah, it must be a local.
One and done. He's got his spot.
Yep.
Cool. All right, well, we'll catch you next time, guys, on
The Short Rod Show.